Hey everyone, it's Martin, and I am in the cabin today. And we had an event last night. We had the power company grid power went down in the snowstorm that we had here. So we had the very first time to test out exactly how our system was going to work when that sort of a thing happened. And I'm going to go out to the utility control building here in just a second, and we're going to look at that and kind of walk through how it's all hooked up. But inside the cabin, you will notice that we've got some outlets that are brown and have a brown plate on them. And then we've got most of them are white, like this one. And the difference between the two is that just tells us that the brown ones are actually dedicated on-grid circuits, and everything that's under the white plates are completely 100% off-grid, operated through the solar and battery system and generators that we've got out in the other building out here. So we're going to go out and take a look at that. But that way you can see exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about the brown outlets or the white outlets. And you can see we've got some snow here, but we really didn't get all that much down here. We only maybe got about 2 inches. And but somewhere else there was more, because a lot of people in the region around here lost power last night. All right, so inside the utility control building, you'll see we've got the solar and batteries all over here. And everything kind of starts with the grid power that we do have for the property comes into this breaker box, and it serves a couple of circuits inside the cabin, but really that's about it. And then a couple of circuits out here where we use a lot of our tools that the off-grid stuff just would have a hard time keeping up with. So anyway, from there, coming out from that box and feeding over to this outlet right here is grid power from the power box. Okay, now what happens is there's the inverter charger, and I've spoken in another video about the importance of having a charger connected in with your inverter in order to give you the ability to charge your batteries with something other than the solar panels that are coming through the charge controller over here. So the flow of how this works is that the solar panels are connected into the charge controller, which powers up the batteries down here. And then when the batteries are full, they will send current up to the inverter, which converts it to AC energy and then sends it on to the cabin and other places around the property here. And if we lose, like today, we don't have any solar charging capacity at all from that. So on days like that, if the battery pack down here becomes depleted, then the power down here that comes in from the grid or from the service panel over here on the other wall will, through this wire here, come up and go through the charger portion of the inverter charger and charge the batteries back up. So what happened last night, and oh, by the way, and we've got this set as the priority to pull power from the solar panels first. And if they're not receiving enough power there and the batteries get depleted, then it will automatically kick over to the grid. Now, I've explained this before as well, is this box right here actually is powered by a generator. So if we want to use a generator power to power up the batteries or to run the cabin, all I have to do is take this plug and plug it into there, and then we're completely disconnected from the grid and we're plugged into a generator. So what happened at 3 o'clock in the morning is I went to feed the fire or the wood stove, and while I was there, I popped onto Facebook real quick, and I saw that people all around me were losing their power. And so I thought, well, I've got power in the cabin here, but then I realized that maybe I don't have power, maybe I don't have grid power in the cabin, and I went and checked some of the brown outlets, and sure enough, they were dead. So, and there's not that many of them in there. We just have them as a backup source just in case. And but all of the brown outlets were dead, but everything else was functioning just the way it was supposed to do. So what happened was the batteries are continually feeding power up through the inverter and going on into the cabin. As that's happening, the solar panels over here are coming in and recharging the batteries continually when there's sun available. And when there's not enough sun available, then the charge control or the inverter charger will automatically sense that the batteries are being depleted, and it will kick over to the grid power to charge the batteries back up again. And that's what happened last night, was that the batteries were fully charged and just sitting there waiting to be needed. And when the power went out, we lost our brown plug-ins, but we didn't lose anything else in the cabin. And the only difference is that in the middle of the night during a snowstorm, we weren't going to get any solar to charge the batteries back up. So what we did was we lost the ability to charge anything from the grid until the power came back on. But that happened several hours later. It didn't happen until about 9 o'clock in the morning. And the batteries, I mean, what we were using last night didn't even phase the batteries or touch the control of the batteries. So we were in good shape all night. When the power came back on, still cloudy outside, so we're not going to get any solar generation there. So what this would have done then is just gone ahead and kicked back over to boost the batteries back up to full again. And it just kicked on right now. It's not so much charging because we've got a full charge in the batteries right now. So all it's doing is doing its inverter thing. And what makes all this possible is this right here is an inverter charger. It's not just an inverter. So with that, you have the ability to power all of your property, plus charge your batteries back up with alternative sources. Hope all that makes sense. It worked great. I wouldn't have even known that we had an issue had I not seen everybody else losing their power. So it worked perfectly, just exactly the way it was designed to do. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you next time. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like and a share, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell. See you next time.